Good evening, everybody. I hope you can all hear me. This is my 10-minute early preview to our video tonight. So I'm just going on 10 minutes early so people can get the notification on their Facebook page and see that I'm on the air. Wow, look at you all, like, waiting to watch. This is great. Hi, Melissa. Hi, Jean. So this is the 10-minute warning. So this is, I came on 10 minutes early. And so I'm just waiting for people to, give a chance to them to see the notifications and try to get more people and see whoever wants to join in with us live. And then, of course, the videos are always up, so there's always the rerun. You can always watch it anytime. So when people message me and they're like, "Oh, I missed it. I'm so sorry I missed it." It's okay. Just watch the rerun. Hi, Robin. Welcome. This is just for those just joining us, my 10-minute pre-show. I guess it's the pre-game show right now, waiting for people to get online and etc. I have a lot of good questions here, per usual. You guys came through with a lot of good questions. I want to tell you about the story of... I'm going to get into it later once 6 o'clock starts. I officially start the show. I guess it's a show now, right? Is it a show? What are these? Is it documentaries? I don't know what they are. Just like... And I got to tell you, full transparency, I'm laying in my bed right now. I'm so chill. And it's like Roosevelt's fireside chats, okay? Eric's bedside videos, I guess. I don't know. It probably doesn't sound that appealing to many of you, but maybe Pillow Talk? I don't know. What do you call this? What should I call the show? Pillow Talk? I don't know. No, because that's not... I don't know. Anyways, so just waiting until 6 o'clock before we officially start. Really good questions. Really good questions. And then I mentioned that I was going to be discussing an exorcism. Somebody sent me infomercials. That's a good one. I could have fun with that. I got to think of something fun for that. Infomercials. That's good, right? But they usually see those on like channel 899 at like 4 a.m. on a Sunday on cable, right? Where the infomercials are. Hi, Tamara. Tamara or Tamara? I'm not sure. I'm going to go with Tamara, right? I'm going to go with Tamara. Okay. So we're just, like I said, for those of you just joining us now, I'm going to be waiting until 6 o'clock. So I mentioned I was going to do a read. This woman came on my page and she commented that she was possessed, well, in the past, and that she was had a possession case, and we're going to talk about that, kinda, and I said, I'm going to relate to you, and I promised it wasn't false advertising, because I put in a thing, I'm going to relate to you this story of possession exorcism that somebody sent me. And I said, disclaimer, I haven't read it or vetted it or anything like that, or vetted the person, etc. So fortunately, I did take some time. I did take some time to read it through and vet it a little bit. And I'm not gonna. I'll talk about it. I will talk about it. I will talk about it. But there are some things. There were some red flags in it. Okay, and this is hi Laurie from Maine. She's a maniac. Hello from Massachusetts, from Salem, Massachusetts. Tamara. Oh, it is Tamara. Okay, not today, but tomorrow. All right. Okay, sorry, I'm just waiting for 6 o'clock to come. That's 6 minutes from now. And so I have this possession story here. It was long. Some of you may have seen it on my page. She actually commented in the thread, so some of you may have already read it. I actually deleted it. I mean, I still have it here in my messenger because she messaged me. But after looking at it, and I'll tell you some of the red flags that I saw in it too, because remember, this is stuff I studied. And when I say I studied, hi Terry, and when I say I studied this, I wasn't like recruited by the church. I mean, I wasn't chosen to be like, you're going to be, we want you to go to exorcist school or anything like that. I just mean it was my field of interest. I wanted to be a Benedictine monk for a long time. I didn't want to be a priest. I wanted to be a monk. But I was fascinated with the study of diabolic possession and exorcism. And so it was my emphasis, the emphasis I put on my studies. And it was amazing how things would kind of happen, because then I was drawn to, quote unquote, my spiritual advisor turned out to be the chief exorcist at the time of the Archdiocese of Boston. And I studied documented cases and such, read different books, read different perspectives, studied it from a theological perspective, studied it from a philosophical perspective, and today here I am, active Satanist. Okay. And I'm going to talk about my faith too, so you understand me a little bit more, my take on Satanism, and the difference between Satanism and evil worship, okay, or devil worship, quote unquote, evil worship. The difference between Satanism and evil worship. All right, and so I think that's a big thing that people get confused, and it's amazing how little people know about this stuff. So, and there are a lot of different takes. So, being a typical Libra, I'm going to give you all the different sides of the story. Okay, I have 6 planets in Libra. Okay, so the truth, quote unquote, truth gets filtered through 6 balancing scales before it gets to you. All right, before it comes out of my mouth. So again, we're just waiting. It is 5:56 p.m. on the East Coast, United States. Welcome to those from all over the country and the world: South Africa, the UK, Ireland. Somebody messaged me today. Somebody commented today and said, and she's actually been commenting a lot, asking the same question. Please tell me, do you see anything for Northern Ireland? So I finally responded today. I said no, and be grateful that I don't, because the only time I ever see anything, it's usually something disastrous. So be grateful that I don't see anything for Northern Ireland. I am so happy with you guys. Where were you guys when I started this out years ago? Because you guys want to know the good stuff. It's not like when is John? I do this all the time. You probably get sick of me complaining about it. When is John Smith leaving his wife for me? That's what I usually get. That's what drained me over so many years. And fortunately now I'm in a position though where I can be more selective on who I read, kinda. So let's see. 2-minute warning, and we'll begin our show. I forgot to put this in the thing. Remember to like and share. Oh, and about the donation thing, I really wasn't being a bitch when I wrote that post. Psych nurse here, I believe we're okay. Oh, Tamara, good. You're a psych nurse. I have one of my stories relates to. You'll like this. I think you'll like this. So yeah, so the donation thing. I wasn't trying to be a bitch, but I was just like, I get people that need, we all have bills to pay. You know what I'm saying? And what's $1? What's $2? What's $5? You know what I mean? And it's like voting. You think everybody else is going to vote, so you stay home and you don't vote. Nobody else voted, and then your candidate loses. Okay, you think somebody else is going to donate. Nobody donates, and I get squat. So that was all. That's all I was saying. It was very matter of fact. I was like I said, I was like a CFO looking at the reports, talking to you guys, my board of directors, saying, guys, this is the situation we're running into. It's not worth the time. It's da-da-da-da-da. So fortunately, I'm going to just keep moving forward, and we'll just see how it comes along. Okay, hi, Barbara. Some of the regulars here. This is great. This is better than my radio show. when I did on Blog Talk Radio. I'm just there's more, there's more people, much more views, much more listens. All right, it's close enough. People have had time to sign on. 6 p.m. It's 5:59. We'll start now. Good evening. My name is Eric Fraize, and welcome to whatever this show is going to be called, or this. Welcome to Pillow Talk. Tonight's topic: Satanism, diabolic, diabolic possession, and exorcism. And we're going to be taking your questions. Oh, look at that. Did you hear that chime? See, this is real time. It's live. So you're going to be hearing chimes and stuff like that. Please forgive me in advance. You'll be hearing chimes. You'll be hearing probably WhatsApp chiming in. You'll probably be hearing, Messenger. I'll just try to swipe them off as fast as I can. So, but please bear with me. Okay. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Deanna. I love that name, Deanna. Lisa's my sister's name, by the way. Okay. So, where do we start? Where do we begin? Well, we have your questions, but let me start by telling you about the different types of Satanism in when you see people on TV today. You see them. I consider myself, and I've always considered myself, what's called a solitary practitioner. I don't like to combine my energies with other people. I don't get into covens. I don't go to group rituals. I don't like those. I just do me. It's about me. And so there is, like, for example, I'm not like organizations that want to, shove Satanism down your throat like Christianity likes to go around with tracts and stuff like that and give you, and you need Jesus, and there are now people that are going around saying you need Satan. And that's unfortunate. I don't belong to any church. I don't believe, I think a satanic church is an oxymoron. Okay, because that's the antithesis of what it is about. There are different types of Satanism. There are different types of Satanists. There's the LaVeyan Satanists. I call them LaVeyan. They're more humanist or even atheistic. They don't really believe in a devil. They just use the symbols to is like a rebellion. Okay. And they consider the ritual, as opposed to real magic that I consider it, they consider it psychodrama. Anton LaVey didn't even believe in astrology. So he was very much, I would consider him an atheist. Whereas I consider myself theistic Satanism. I actually believe in the entity. However, it's how I believe in him that's the difference. Okay? And also, kind of a disclaimer tonight, too. You're going to hear me, and I'm just going to be upfront with you. You're going to hear me contradict myself so many times. A, because it's a Libra thing. B, because I'm still learning. We always are until we die. So there were organizations, and one of the things when I came back to Salem, I got to tell you, people are such hypocrites. I came back to Salem and I met with a few people. It was a little diplomacy trip, I guess you could say, to see how I'd be received back in Salem. And sat down with a few people, had lunch with a few people, and got this, they saw the inverted pentagram. They actually brought up the whole Satanism thing first in a lot of cases, and said, "Oh, well, have you reached out to so and so? Or you need to contact so and so." Like it was I'm not up here. I'm not running for office. Do you know what I mean? Like my religion isn't a political. Why do I have to contact these people? Fuck them. What? Why do I have to reach out to these people? It was this satanic. You should really contact this satanic organization, and then there's this satanic organization. And I think they truly thought, and one of these individuals was running for office. Is still, I think, running for office in Salem. And I'm like, no, I don't think you understand. I really believe in the devil. And well, all of a sudden, I was a pariah, and that was weird, or and then you hear people that were like, well, and you'll hear people that water Satanism down, like water Satan down, and well, he's and you may, like I said, you're gonna hear me contradict myself a lot tonight. Well, he's been what do I want to say? He's it's a Christian invention, or It's like, no, I actually believe in the biblical devil. And that's what gets people, that's what makes them freak out. They think, or they think you're mentally ill, or, just whatever. So it was just kind of, it was so, I couldn't help but laugh, because more than one person that I met back up with in Salem and sat down with, well, you need to speak to it was like they were trying to organize Satanism. Like it was just so not even what, it was like all these people that try to break away from religions and try to distance themselves, like, oh, I hate the Catholic Church, or here's a great example. Wiccans. Wicca. People will go into Wicca because they hate the rules of the Catholic Church. Okay, so they hate, just as an example. So they hate the rules of the Catholic Church, so they become Wiccan. And they go right ahead and establish the same moral dogma that the Catholic Church has. Even though Wicca was around before Catholicism, but still, they establish the same dogma and the same, they seek after their own lusts, if you will. They make something that's totally their own. Like, all of a sudden they organize, well, we approve of this because they want to do this activity or whatever. We don't approve of this because they think it's taboo or whatever. But everybody, they go after their own appetites, and they organize everything according to what they, you know what I mean? They're hypocrites. I'm seeking truth. There's a truth here. Let me tell you something. The very nature of truth is that it doesn't change. That's the paradox. I tell people, we need to find your truth. But the fact is, that there is, the nature of truth is that there can only be one truth. If there are multiple truths, it is not truth. Think about that. Right? Truth is truth. Okay? And you're going to hear a lot of paradox, and they say, oh, well, all roads lead to the same place. All roads lead to God. Well, you know something? If I want to get to Seattle, I'm not going to take I-95. All right? I'm going to take Route 2 or I-90. Okay? So I-95 is a road, I-84 is a road, and that doesn't get me to Seattle, where I want to go. So not all paths get you where you want to go. We're not all going to the same place. I've got news for you. All right? So the Satanic Bible, when you read the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey, it's extremely popular. An easy read, too. Quick read. Good read. It's a decent read. It's sadistic. In the sense that, it lets people fall on their own sword kind of thing, which I kind of like. But there's so much I just do, like the whole fact that he just, and Anton LaVey, when he wrote the Satanic Bible, you can see in this, he would start as, and this is something I would actually do, truth be told. He worked for the San Francisco Police Department as a forensic or criminal photographer or something, and then he went into, started doing paranormal investigations. And so he would go to people's houses, and he would find very logical explanations for the bumps in the night, for the sounds that they heard. This is a loose pipe, or this is that. And people would be pissed at him because they wanted to hear that the house was haunted, or they wanted some dramatic explanation or story. It was the human psyche. So he stopped. when he caught on to this, he started going to people and saying, oh, there's a demon, or there's, oh, she died here in the 1800s and her name is Clarabelle, and da-da-da-da. And people lapped it up, and he just let them fall on their own sword. He gave them what they wanted. So I'm kind of actually like that. Like, I mean, I'll tell you the truth, like at first, I'll tell you the real stuff. But if no, I don't want to hear, then I'll tell you what you want to hear, which is a lie. I'm just a bitch like that. So circulation is stopping over here in my arm. All right. So that having been said, now then I studied in the church. We're going to get to your questions here. So I studied in the church, and there was, let me tell you about one case that I studied in particular. I was, Tamara, Tamara, you might like this one. Well, it has to do with mental health. Mental health does not preclude diabolic possession. In fact, it can often be a doorway to it. When I had a job working for a major hospital, I was in their public safety department. I was a public safety officer for a major hospital. And so in the hospital, when a patient would come in with a psychiatric issue, they would go in what was called the yellow zone. And my duty that night was to patrol the yellow zone. You just guard, you just patrol the yellow, make sure everybody's okay, etc. Nobody's getting out of hand. And at that time, I was also studying in the church, the Catholic Church. So I always carried my Bible with me in a black bag. And I put it behind the nurse's station. I would always put it behind the nurse's station and do my shift there, walking around the yellow zone. And so they brought this girl in. And she didn't speak a word of English. They needed her two brothers to interpret for her. She spoke Spanish. So they needed her two brothers to interpret for her. And her complaint was that witches from hell were telling her to stab herself. And so, of course, they're like, all right, put her in the yellow zone. You know what I mean? And that's sad, really, actually, that they don't, but the nature of, it's just human nature. They just think you're bonkers, and they just stick in the, okay, so, but it caught my attention, and so I just was listening carefully, and I was listening to some of the stuff, and they put her in bed, and they told me to go in and secure the room, which is protocol. If we think somebody's going to harm themselves, we would secure the room. There was a steel wall you put down to cover all the medical equipment and stuff. And so at the time, as I went in, and I go in, and she's lying down, and she was sedated. And I believed her. I didn't think she was nuts at all. I believed her. So as I was securing the room, I started praying the Our Father for her. She jumps up out of her sedated state and in perfect English says to me, "Stop that." And I was praying in my head. I wasn't saying anything out loud. I was just doing my duty, and I was just, doing what I had to do and praying, "Stop that." And I said, "Stop what?" She's like, "You know damn well what you're doing. What you have to say, And she's like, "You think you know God." She's like, "You think you know the Bible." Perfect English, mind you. "Go get your Bible from behind the nurse's station," she says to me. "I can quote it chapter and verse." At that point, I knew that I wasn't speaking to the girl. And she was 17. And I just looked her in the eyes and said, "I bet you can," because I knew at that point what I was speaking to. And then she's like, "You know what? Get the fuck out of here. I don't want you." And she started screaming, and then everyone like flipping out, and then more officers came in. The nurses came in. They sedated her even more. They strapped her down. They did it, with all this stuff. And she's like, "Get him out of here." She was me specifically. Get him out of here. Now, most people would have been freaked out by something like that. Honestly, full transparency, I was fascinated by it. I wasn't scared at all. I was fascinated by it. So, time goes on. So the next day, we had our briefing. The officers are all briefed for the morning shift at 0700. And they said, yeah, there was a girl in the psych ward last night, and it was the same girl. She broke her restraints and with her bare hands tore her mattress in half. So, assuming she did really speak Spanish, no English whatsoever, there was knowledge of a foreign language, because her English was perfect when she spoke to me. There's super strength, okay? There's knowledge of hidden things. Go bring me your Bible from behind the nurse's station. Okay? She, in less than 24 hours, she met the three of the main criteria for diabolic possession. So, when I heard that she ripped a mattress in half and she broke her restraints, and I'm saying, I'm sitting there in the briefing, I can't say anything because I could get fired. You know what I mean? I'm saying to myself, this girl needs a priest. She does not need medication. This is such a huge topic, and it's something I've studied for so long, there's no way I'm going to be able to cover everything tonight. So it's going to be a decent video with a lot of information kind of crammed in, and I still won't even really be able to scrape the surface. So that was one of the cases, and again, I was fascinated by it. I when most people are like, oh, that was so scary, it freaked me out, I was like, how do I get this power? You see what I mean? Okay, so just the way I kind of saw it. But anyway, so I became fascinated with it. And there aren't really any good books on the devil, as far as like for him, that people actually know what they're talking about. There aren't any really good pro-devil books. There's any information we glean about Satan, the devil, Lucifer, etc., it's all written by Christians, or it's all written by people in the right-hand path, and we don't know. The best book to date that I have read on Satan and his history is called Satan, a Biography, by Henry Ansgar Kelly, Kelly, Satan, a Biography. He's a philosopher. He's not a Satanist or anything like that. I think he's a doctor, actually. I think he's a PhD out of Cambridge in England or something like that. Whatever. I don't know where he's from, but anyway, it was brilliant. It was a great book. It was a great book on the history of the historical Satan and how he got his name, etc., and stuff like that. It was a good, and you got to be careful, because everybody that, there are so many people that anybody can put a sigil of Baphomet. That's the inverted. See that flag right there? That's the sigil of Baphomet. Let's see over there. There you go. That's the sigil of, that's on my altar. That's the sigil of Baphomet. It's the goat head inside a five-pointed inverted pentagram. Speaking of goat, I'm jumping all around here. I forgot to mention that today is September 11th. Not that we needed reminding. Actually, kind of like, and this is somebody that's like, I witnessed September 11th live. It's like, let's move on. Let's not forget what happened. But how long is it going to be? We do Pearl Harbor Day. Well, I guess we still do Pearl Harbor Day. They do something I guess so. I guess my point is, the day, September 11th itself was interesting, because if you go back, and I mentioned this in a previous video, look at and I apologize that we should never forget, and I don't mean forget it, I just mean I just feel like when we stop our lives, we give the terrorists satisfaction, but then again, we should also remember those who were lost as well. So I'm glad I could clarify that before I made an ass of myself, if it was not too late. So anyway, in the room where George W. Bush was that day, they were reading My Pet Goat. think of this stuff. That was the book they were reading to the kids, My Pet Goat. The vocabulary words in that classroom on September 11th were, and I mentioned this in another video too, kite, plane, hit, steal, must. Plane, must, hit, steal. Those are the vocabulary words the kids were saying in the room that day. No such thing as coincidence. So I was talking about, I didn't want to talk too much about that because I don't want to get into the details of like what I think happened on 9/11. We know from past videos that there were real people on those planes, real people died, and I spoke to one of them in spirit, and I didn't even know it at the time. And I told you about that again, and I want to repeat a lot into other videos because you've already watched them. I don't want to repeat myself. Yes, it is good to memorialize people. Oh, Angelina, hi, how are you? I haven't forgotten. So let's see. Why don't we... I was talking about, oh, okay, anybody can put on a sigil of Baphomet and claim to be a Satanist. And let me tell you, in this field, in this quote-unquote religion, I hate to call it a religion because he is who he is, there are some sick people. I have seen some sick-ass shit in this religion, you know, from people that claim to be Satanists. Some people do it just to be rebels. You know, some people do it just to scare people. Some people do it because, yeah, I'm a fucking Satanist, man, it's cool. You know, and everything. And some people are really effed up. Some people are seriously... I have stories that would curl your hair. Like, it's just... that I won't get into here. But just let me tell you, it draws some sick-ass people. Let me get to some of your questions, first of all. And we'll probably answer now. Oh, so why... Angelina's on here, and she asked a great question. She asked, why did I choose Satanism? Did I really choose it, or did it choose me? I was born on October 6th, with 6 planets in Libra and 6 planets in the 4th house. It's a natural 666. Right there. It's how I believe in him. I believe in Satan to be the polarity of God. There's a saying I came up with. Diabolus est Deus inversus. It's Latin. Satan is God inverted. And just like you have the tree of life in the Kabbalah, okay, and you have, you know, the Sephiroth, Chokmah, Bina, Kether, and stuff like that. There were different dimensions. Some people say there are 3 dimensions to the tree of life. Some people say 4, the Kabbalah, etc. But as you get into their darker dimensions, they're like polarities of it. So, for example, the Sephiroth with Michael would have the angel Samael. So Michael means who is like God, whereas Samael means wrath of God, venom of God. So light, dark. You see what I mean? So how I view Satan is the dark side of God. God sent the destroyer, Samael, to destroy the firstborn of Egypt. So he, you know, it's whenever in the scripture you'll see Satan often chiming in to do quote unquote God's dirty work. Okay, you can't. This isn't going to get... I'm not going to get into a biblical discussion because this is stuff that's been discussed for eons with no conclusions. So, you know, I just find that the darker half is more empowering. I think there needs to be balance. 6 planets in Libra, there needs to be balance. Because I think all good is a fantasy. And all good doesn't make sense. Like the book of Revelation, when, you know, which is allegorical, by the way, it's not literal. The book of Revelation, when it says, oh, and then, you know, Satan will be chained for 1,000 years and peace for all eternity, and it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Think about that. There has to be balance in the universe. And, you know, I don't want to get too heavy into theology, but there has to be balance in the universe. And there will be no final consummation of evil. That's a great lie. And the Revelation contains the word lie. It lexicograms the word lie. It lexicograms a bunch of stuff. I'll have to lexigram Revelation on my page after the video or tomorrow or something. So I see it as I see Satan. I don't know, just the inverted part of God, I guess you could say. Does that mean I believe in Jesus? No, not necessarily. Well, I mean, in who he was. Like, was he the Son of God? What did it? I have so many... I don't think I have a steady position on many things because of my 6 planets. I don't mean to keep chalking it up to my astrology, but astrology is just really true. And I'm just still learning. I'm learning, and I'm learning, I'm learning, and the more that I learn, the more that I find out, the more that I learn, the more that I know, the more I learn that I don't know. But at least I admit that I don't know, and I'm not running around blind like some of these people that, you know, that believe the narrative that's been thrown at them, the narrative that the church wants them to believe, the narrative that the government wants them to believe, etc. I've researched stuff. I'm reading my book. Actually, I counted today. It's 45 books in my curriculum, and these aren't small books. Like, 2 of them are Bibles, the King James Version, and I mean, when I study these, I'm picking them apart, like the Greek, the Latin, the stuff, you know. And one is in the Septuagint, the Orthodox Bible, the Septuagint, the Greek Septuagint, the Old Testament, and stuff. So I just get so to answer her question, why did I choose Satanism? I just get more results. I just, you know, sometimes I need, you know, and will I stay this way the rest of my life? I don't know. One day at a time. I just know that right now it's where I am. It's my path. I find the pillar of severity to be far better than the pillar of mercy, because life has taught me that nice guys get shat upon, and I don't know. It's a long story. So why did I choose it? Let's just say it's, for me, it's necessary right now. Let's get to some of your questions, because I'm sure some of your questions are so good they'll lead into other things that you know, I'll be like, oh yeah, that reminds me, blah blah blah, and I'm kind of all over the place, and I'm so sorry. I hope everybody's following me. I don't often look at the questions while I'm... Hi, Jessica. I don't often look at the questions while I'm doing the videos, but there will be a time when I'll open the floor for questions, so hang in there. Gemma, how does possession happen, and can you prevent it? Short of an open pact with the devil, possession is a process. It usually doesn't happen... It's a process, but there is actually a moment of... and mind you, these are different schools of thought. I'm speaking from a Catholic Church exorcism position right now, as far as these questions go. There is a moment of possession. Yes, there is one moment when the demon fully consumes you, but the possession itself is a process. It leads up to. It's a series of things, a series of events that turn you, that frame. You know, the person has to be. You have to be willing to be possessed on some level. You have to agree to be possessed. You have to say yes. It's some remote, even if it's 0.001% of you inside that is tempted and says yes. That's all that's required. So if you're like a solid 100%, nothing's coming in. I got news for you. Okay? So there has to be some cooperation on behalf of the possessed. Yes, I agree. To live deliciously indeed. So how does possession happen? Can you prevent it? Yes, you can. Sure you can. You can absolutely prevent it. You can just say no. but you have to 100% say no. You can't 0.001% say yes. That's not going to work. You remember something what Jesus said about John the Baptist, and when Jesus was praising John the Baptist and said, "But I say unto you, that the least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he." Conversely, invertedly, I say to you, the weakest demon in hell is stronger than the most powerful person on earth. All right, so don't think for a second that you can tackle these things. Okay, let's go to the next question. Angelina, I hope I answered yours. It's what I need right now. It's just I don't know, it's just my faith. Like, that's what I want right now. So I hope that, I hope that kind of answered your question. How are people chosen for possession? What do demons look for? And what is the general criteria for possession? All right, let's break this down, Melissa. How are people chosen for possession? Good question. What kind of influence will they have in the world? What kind of impact will the possession make? Look at the exorcism of Emily Rose. Or in real life, the exorcism of Annalise Michel. That was her name, and it was in Germany. But, at the end of the movie of The Exorcism, great movie, by the way, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. At the end, she says, how can people not believe in God if I show them the devil? Again, kind of polarity thing. Hey, Sean, you still haven't changed your profile picture, Sean, just saying. So how can people not believe in God if I show them the devil? Exorcism of Emily Rose was a fantastic movie. The story of Annalise Michel was great, and I'm actually still studying that one. I still haven't gotten to, I mean, I know bits and pieces about the real story. So how are people chosen for possession? It depends. There's always an agenda, and there's always a purpose for it. It's not just random. There's a purpose for everything in heaven and hell. In heaven and earth and in hell, there's a purpose for everything. Okay? What do demons look for, and what is the general criteria? Again, I would say, they would look for, and remember, there's only one kingdom in the kingdom of hell. There's only one. It's paradox. It's Satan. It's all one, but there are multiple demons. It's unexplainable. It's unexplainable. I would think impossible to articulate. The kingdom of hell. What do demons look for? What is the general criteria for possession? And accepting a willing person. That's important. That's probably the most important. What benefit will the possession bring? What cause will it further advance? Okay? And don't say that God doesn't have an agenda either, because he's got an agenda too. There are reasons that quote-unquote saints are chosen for things too. All right? So each side has an agenda. Okay? So, and again, you have to be willing. If there's 0.01% of you that says yes. Now, for somebody who openly does a blood pact, who's like 100%, come on in. That's called perfect possession. These are people that have voluntarily allied themselves with the dark side. I'm not trying to sound like Star Wars, but seriously, I don't know another way to the inverted side of God. Okay, the dark half, the yang to the yin. Okay, severity as opposed to mercy. Boaz as opposed to Yakin. Okay. Let me see here. We get that question. Sherry. Does playing with the Ouija board open the doors to becoming possessed? If you speak to the Catholic Church, yes. If you speak to the Catholic Church, consulting me will get you possessed. If you consult with the Catholic Church, tarot cards, getting a tarot reading, seeing any kind of psychic medium will get you possessed. And that's going to lead me into But I don't personally. I don't believe it. I mean, I don't. You can talk to the spirit world. Just be careful. You don't know who you're talking to. That's why you got to educate yourself on the paranormal and the other side and such. Kind of cool. So you need to educate yourself on the other side, okay, and what you're looking into. Now on this note, when I said, because I remember in one of the videos I said, when you can do these things, when you open your third eye, you become a beacon, like in a dark place for spirits and entities and souls and demons or whatnot that want to come and speak to you. Or speak through you, people, souls that, not even just demons, but souls that want to speak to other souls that are alive, when they see you have the ability to communicate, they want to come to you, they want to speak to you, etc. So, in the case of the woman that sent me her possession story, let me go to that, if I may. Hang on, that was my friend Pam. Hold on, Pam. I'm live right now. I think you know that, but let me just see here. This girl. It was too polished. It was too. I didn't want to give her name. I mean, she gave me permission to tell her story, but I deleted everything on the Facebook page, so I have no proof that she gave me permission to tell her story or her name for that matter. So I'm not even going to mention her name. And then she just sent me this very polished cut and paste. She posted it in the thread. She sent it to me in Messenger, and she was talking about her possession, her case of possession. I'm reading through it, and some of the stuff is consistent with what I've read and what I've studied in some areas. And I guess the fact that she now claims to be a psychic medium. First of all, bitch, don't come on my page and try to compete with me, okay? This is my page. These are my clients, all right? Know what I'm saying? Okay, so if you're another psychic medium, all right? So, and then she's going on and she's saying, I'm a beacon of light and stuff, and as a psychic medium, and then she tells you not to believe in the movies like The Last Exorcism, and then she quoted The Last Exorcism. It was just, and then she had the prayer to Saint Michael, the Archangel, which as a Satanist I will absolutely not say, because it works. The stuff works, but so don't diabolic prayers. You know what I mean? So just like I wouldn't want to offend anybody else's deity or whatever, I'm not going to say the prayer to Saint Michael. Hang on a second. No one. Wait a second. I'm sorry. I apologize, folks. For those of you watching live, I'm just. She's obviously not watching live because she wouldn't be messaging. She wouldn't be blowing up my messenger like this during a video. So anyway, I'll get to that later. So that was her story, and the more I read her story, hi Janetta, the more I was like, I don't doubt that what she went through and stuff like that, and it just seemed a little, I don't know. And then the whole like psychic medium thing, and like I'm like, bitch, this is my page. And then like I'm a beacon of light, and it just seemed, I don't know. Like I said, if you caught it on the thread, Krish is the best. Okay, buddy, you're the best, buddy. If you caught it on my page, you saw what she said, you can judge for yourself. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to read it, etc. And I know I'm sorry because I'm like, I'm going to read this exorcism live. At that point, I didn't vet it. I didn't look at it, but I took a few minutes ahead of time before the program tonight, and I looked at it, and I was like, yeah, no, this isn't going to. There are different types, there are different takes, even in the Christian church, on possession. There are different books you can read, and you'll get different opinions from everybody. But this possession that this girl sent me, the story she told was consistent with some of the stuff that I read. but it was still a little grandiose, a little grandstanding-ish. Valerie, does Satan have love for anyone? Well, I'd like to think he loves me. It depends on the theory that you hold. If you hold that he's the inversion of God, well, then God loves everybody, doesn't he? But why is there it's a difficult question. And if he doesn't love me, we have a damn good business relationship. So, but does Satan love anybody? I feel affection sometimes. Oh, story for you. One time I was going through this, because I've gone back and forth, you know. And let me tell you something about faith and tragedy. When somebody dies in our life, when something happens that we can't explain, when specifically a death, it tests our faith, no matter what your faith is. And sometimes it can scare you out of, death can scare you out of a faith or into a faith. So be very, very careful and try to keep your wits about you when it comes to traumatic events in your life. So I was in a conversion process once. I was like, no, I should leave Satanism and go back to Christianity and blah, blah, blah. And as I was putting a statue of Saint Michael on my mantelpiece, I heard as clear as day, like a whisper, like somebody was standing right next to you and whispered into your ear, just my name, Eric. But what was conveyed in that whisper was like, why are you wounding? Why are you abandoning me? Like, why are you leaving me? And it was so startling, I dropped the statue of Archangel Michael and it shattered on the floor. And I was like, and so does Satan love us? That was that was the most I could ever say that, wow, he genuinely was attached. There was genuinely this attachment. You know what I mean? And for people to think, you're fucking mental. Look, it's no more mental than other people saying, it was my angel, and I heard my voice and my angel said to me, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so just because mine's coming from a different place, all right, don't write me off as nuts. Okay, so does Satan have love for anybody? I feel a connection, truth be told, just saying. So you can call me mentally ill or what, but, you know. Gene, are the faithless or non-believers more apt to draw demonic entities? They're more easily manipulated, let's put it that way. Just like people that don't believe in astrology are the most susceptible to it. Hi, Rebecca. Just like the people that don't believe in astrology are the most susceptible to it. Okay. So are the faithless or non-believers more apt to draw demonic entities? They're just easier to access. And it depends on their position. Right? If they're like CEO of a company, president of the United States, and they're faithless, sure, they're going to be a target. They have power. They can manipulate things in this realm. Does Satan oversee these evil entities, or are they of a different realm? Gene, good one, because that goes back to the paradox question. They're all one in the kingdom. They're all one. Yet they're separate. Individual entities within one. I guess it could be considered, let me give you a pagan example. There's one pantheon. Even the pagans believe in one god, but they break the pantheon down to triple goddess, sun god, okay, or like Zeus, Mercury, Zeus, Hermes, Hera. You know, they God, goddess, child, underworld god. There's Hades, there's Pluto, there's Loki. You see, so, but it's all one. It's all one entity. So Satan himself is one entity with all these. Yet they are separate individuals themselves. And it depends too. I know, like I said, I'm talking about. I'm contradicting myself so much because there's so much to say, and I didn't bullet point anything, and I always shoot these things from the hip. You know, there's the belief that 1/3 of the host of heaven fell, so that 1/3 of the angels. How many angels are there? Billions, trillions. So how many demons are there? Okay, etc. I just lost my stylus here. Hold on, there we go. So, are they a different realm? Yeah. Well, we can't see them. They're vibrating at a different rate of angstrom units per second. so we can't see them. It's like when you turn on the blade, you know, you can see the blades of a fan, but when you turn it on, they disappear. The vibration is faster, so we can't see them. They vibrate at a different frequency than we do. Okay, that law of vibration, hermetic principle. So they're in a different realm. They're kind of interlaced with ours. If we could pull the veil aside and see heaven and hell, we'd see horrors beyond imagination. Can't read how are people chosen. Oh, you got that one. Question: Why in possession? This is Marianne. Why in possession are the possessed? Is the possessed part only shown to some, and they act totally normal to others? Like they'll show their spouse, like they'll have a fit of possession to their spouse, and they're totally normal when they go into public. Okay, I would compare that to. Give the comparison. I would compare that to a bank robber talking to his fellow criminals, but when he goes out in public, he doesn't want anybody to know he's a criminal. I hope that analogy is good for you. Part of one. I'm sorry, I'm reading. Marie. Hi, Marie. I'm doing good, Sean. Thank you. How are you, buddy? I'm not talking to you until you change your profile picture. I'm just kidding. Different sides of one. Yes, that's good, Tamara. You've done your homework. Diva's incarnation is part of one. The Brahmin. Right. You've done your work. You've done your homework. Good. Okay. Questions. Go ahead. Shoot. Whatever questions. Now's the time. Write them in the thing. I don't feel like I've covered everything the way I wanted to. I was kind of all over the place. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully, but because there's so much, I could talk for hours in this stuff, and I could say, okay, that was a brief overview. Now let's go back and talk about each one in depth in person. This camera's pissing me off because it doesn't focus. Focus. Let me just see here. Hold on a second. A little better anyway. So anyway, but then you can go back and you can really, you can really go into detail on each and every item discussed. One other individual who was possessed that I saw, once we got him in a room, he started flipping out. He said, "What's in the next room?" He didn't know there was a chapel. We were in a regular building. There was a chapel in the next room that he did not know about. And there was also a Eucharist, a consecrated Eucharist in the chapel. And he said, "What's in that next room? What's in there?" And he would flip out and everything. And then he threw down a statue of Archangel Michael and said he was chaining the dragon. Stuff like that. So, really, he's real far out. And I want to see your face, Sean. You got to show people your face in your profile pic. Let me just see. I got and read the book Autobiography on Satan. It was enlightening. Oh, good. Oh, Rebecca. Good. Yeah, Satan, a biography. Well, it was not an autobiography. Satan didn't write it, but yeah, no. Henry Ann Scott Kelly, Satan, a biography. It was really good. Yeah, it was a really good book. But go ahead with questions related to the topic, Sean. Any questions related to the topic we're discussing? That is my kitten Norma. Well, she's not a kitten anymore because you've had that profile picture forever, so she's got to be a full-grown cat by now. I'm busting your balls, Sean. That's what y'all get for bullying me in high school. If your third eye is closed, is there a way to open it? Yes. I guess meaning if you're not a medium, can you open yourself up to become one? Yes. Joshua, yes, you can. You absolutely can. And that's why I have a metaphysics class that I do on my... It's a metaphysics group. I haven't done a video in forever, and some of you students watching are like, yeah, we know. But yes, the best way to... there is a way to do it, yeah. To go into alpha, meditation, etc., and I do another video on that, and then my metaphysics group. For those of you that want into this metaphysics class, which I haven't done, I've done more videos here in public than I have, but the metaphysics class videos that I do are very, very, very specific, and how to open your third eye, and I talk about magic, and I get much deeper into the mysteries. So if you want to be part of that, you have to add me as a friend on Facebook, which is facebook.com/eric.fraize.9. facebook.com/eric.fraize.9. Okay? I think we're probably going to have maybe a part 2, or maybe we'll break down specific topics of this in the future. But there's so much other stuff to discuss too, and I mean, we'll talk about astrology and stuff like that. But as we approach the 7 o'clock hour, I just want to see if there's any questions that you guys have. Let me know. Remember to donate. Sorry. If you enjoyed it, if you got something out of it, I didn't. So that's about it. I just kind of wanted to keep it brief. I hope I covered a lot. I think I covered a good amount. So by all means, go back and rewatch it. And any questions that you have, put in the comment section. I'll try to answer them again. Fuck. Full transparency, I really got to go to the bathroom right now. So I got to wrap this video up. That's what happens when you drink water all day. And coffee, Dunkin' Donuts. So as much as I love you guys, and this was a great video, and you have questions, put them in there, and I'll get back to you. But by all means, donate, and I don't know what to say. I love you guys, and keep watching my page, and I'll follow up soon. All right? I hope you enjoyed it. I really do, and thank you all for tuning in. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Good night.